Hello, beautiful people. Today, 2nd of October. My name is Sahil, and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Friends, today, 2nd October, is the birth anniversary of the two of the great leaders, that is Mahatma Gandhi ji and Lal Bahadur Shastri ji. Now, guys, these two of the leaders have gave their valuable contribution for the freedom struggle, as well as Lal Bahadur Shastri ji has been an exemplary prime minister into the post-independent India. Guys, today we will be having an article on both of them. However, guys, in today's GS folder, I would like to talk a little bit on Gandhiji's ideologies, as he, being an important political leader, has given some excellent, valuable insights. Now, guys, today, rather than talking about Gandhiji's ideology, I would like to tell you that who were the four people who inspired Gandhiji. Now, guys, Gandhiji always used to say that whenever I meet a person, I used to take a book, his religion, and his situation which is congenial to him. So, guys, Gandhiji had learned immensely from the people, and guys, all his outlook was made up of these four people. We'll talk about them. Now, guys, the first is Henry Stephen Salt. So, when Gandhiji read Henry Stephen Salt's A Plea for Vegetarianism, there he got the insights about environmentalism. Now, guys, Gandhiji was a great environmentalist, so this particular book made an impression on him. He turned to a vegetarianism and all such kind of things he got from here. Then, guys, the next person was John Ruskin. Now, John Ruskin wrote a book unto this last, and this particular book had a very big impression onto Gandhiji and Gandhiji's entire economical ideas of basically reorganizing a village enterprise, the idea that every person should be given equal salary, equal money for the effort he is doing. Even a lawyer and even a barber's time is worth of the same kind of remuneration. Such ideas he got from the John Ruskin. And guys, by inspired from the unto this last, he also translated this particular book into the Gujarati, which is called as a Sarvodaya. Then the third person was the Henry David Thoreau. And Henry David Thoreau's essay onto the civil disobedience movement inspired Gandhiji, and Gandhiji utilized the CDM in India. Henry David Thoreau used to say that it is highly immoral to obey to an unjust state, and the civil disobedience should be started. So from there, Gandhiji learned the CDM. Then, guys, the Leo Tolstoy. So, Leo Tolstoy wrote a book that is Kingdom of God is Within You. And from Kingdom of God Within You, Gandhiji got inspired by and got the ideas such as the Satyagraha and his opinion or his viewpoint towards the religion and spiritualism. So, guys, these are the four people who actually made Gandhiji, and in return, Gandhiji inspired such great personalities such as Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., and many more are also there. So, guys, on to Gandhiji's birth anniversary, this is certain insight which you should know. And if a question comes on GS paper number 4 ethics as well as essay, you should utilize this particular content. So, guys, that's it. And now let's take the newspaper analysis. Now, guys, the first article that we are taking is a remembrance for the Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, the Prime Minister, who has often been called as the forgotten Prime Minister. Now, guys, as we're talking about the Shastri ji, he shares his birthday with Gandhi ji and comes from the province from which Nehru ji came. Now, guys, when we are talking about Shastri ji, he had established himself onto a scale where his political morality is often appreciated. Now, there are two instances of his political morality which have often been given the example. Number one instance was of 1956 when he resigned because of a railway accident. He took the responsibility that if an accident has taken place, then somebody has to take the responsibility, and he resigned. The next incident was of 1963 when out of the Kamraj plan he resigned. Now, guys, what was the Kamraj plan? So, K. Kamraj, he started a kind of a movement within the Congress. He said that certain of the senior leaders, in order to give a message that they are not corrupted with the power, lust of the power, in order to bring the internal reforms onto the Congress, they should resign from their post. And guys, in 1963, various important leaders resigned, and the Shastri ji was one of them. So, guys, this particular thing shows that he was never moved with the hunger for the power. Always his ethics and morals and his politics with the ethics were more important to him. Now, guys, Shastri ji came to the prime ministership during a huge crisis that was going on. First crisis was the food security problem that was going on. We were not self-sufficient into the food, and we have to procure the food from various countries. We need to literally beg for the food. Now, guys, when we were procuring the food, that particular thing also had one more problem, that is the forex crisis which came into India. Therefore, the economic condition was also not very good. Now, guys, when the Shastri ji came to the prime ministership, he systemically worked towards this thing. For example, in 1964, he worked for the establishment of the Food Corporation of India, and today our Food Corporation of India holds so much of the buffer stock grains, and partly due to the efforts of the Food Corporation of India in giving the MSP to the farmer, we have now basically have attained a kind of a food self-sufficiency. And second of the task by which we attained the food self-sufficiency was the Green Revolution, which was also given a foundation during the time of the Shastri ji. Now, guys, when Shastri ji was chosen as the prime minister, his election also symbolized one important pattern, that was the breakage from the culture of patronage. Now, guys, when Nehru ji came to the prime ministership, it was being ruled that the dynasty politics will now be coming. But by bringing the Shastri ji, it was shown that the patronage culture is not going to be there. However, in times to come, such kind of dynastic politics has been followed. But till this point of time, Shastri ji was a person who broke that particular thing. Now, guys, as the Shastri ji came to the throne, there were other challenges also. What are these challenges? First was the language issue. Now, guys, when the constitution was framed, it was said that within 15 years' time, that is up to 1965, we'll be taking a call that what will be the official language. At the time of the constitution, when it came into the force, it was said that English as well as Hindi both can continue as an official language. But as 1965 was coming, again renegotiation was to be done, and for that thing, huge political unrest was going on towards the South India. So that was the time when the Shastri ji came to the throne. After that, guys, the president rule was imposed during this particular time into the Kerala. Again, a political controversy erupted due to this thing. Then, guys, the political crisis in Uttar Pradesh was going on. In Punjab, the demand for a Punjabi Suba was very much prominent. After that, guys, the Kashmir crisis was going on. The Pakistan was becoming more and more assertive by every passing day for the Kashmir matter. Then, guys, the change of leadership has happened into the USSR as well as Pakistan, and into such change of leadership, there was entirely new strategy which was to be formulated. So, in all these things, the Shastri ji came to the throne, and guys, finally came the 1965 war with the Pakistan. Now, during this Pakistan war, before this, it was being said that the Shastri ji has been an accidental prime minister, or he has been a cardboard nationalist. All such things were being written by the Shastri ji. But the resolve and the kind of basically the conviction which he showed, and the decision making which he presented into the war, everybody got to know that what are the real calibers of the Shastri ji. Now, guys, after the war, ultimately the basically truce was to be signed into the Tashkent, which was brokered by the USSR. And as the ceasefire was to be signed, he went there, and ultimately, after signing the basically ceasefire, he passed away. Now, his passing away has been a very controversial topic. There were various alternative theories that how he was died, actually he was killed, or some speculations are going on. So, guys, that is a thing which should not be talked about, because those conspiracies undermine the political stature of such a great leader. However, guys, though the time was very much less for which the Shastri ji was onto the prime ministership, but even into this time, he did some phenomenal good things. For example, he basically turned the personalization of government to institutionalization of government. Okay, so institutions were given more focus. After that, he basically, when he gave the slogan of Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, then he basically said that right now our focus needs to be onto the agriculture rather than onto the industry, and therefore he was a kind of an exemplary economist also who suggested that what needs to be the course into the present wake of time. So guys, all these are the crises and a kind of a sketch of the prime ministership of the Shastriji. So guys, that's it. Into GS paper number 1, into the post-independence section, all these things could be highly relevant. So guys, that's all. And now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article pertains to Gandhiji. Now guys, when we are talking about Gandhiji, Gandhiji has been called as an original thinker, political strategist, a humanist because of the teachings which the Gandhiji gave to us. Now, often the Gandhiji's name is synonymous to the idea of the non-violence, and often non-violence has also been criticized also. It has been said that non-violence is a kind of good when we listen to it, but in practicality, it is an utopian concept. So, guys, by this particular thing, at the same time, we are appreciating Gandhiji, but we are calling Gandhiji's ideas utopian. But this is a kind of a oversimplification or a less understanding onto the Gandhiji's real meaning of non-violence. Gandhiji's non-violence or ahimsa is not just a dream, but it is a practical hope which is derived from Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, Christianism, the ideas of Leo Tolstoy, Socrates, and various other such teachings. So, from there, Gandhiji got the hope into the non violence, and it could not be called as something as utopian. Moreover, guys, Gandhiji has often been charged as an alienated Asian. Alienated Asian has been said because it was said that Gandhiji was so much into, basically, he was influenced by the Western ideas and all such, that he was not actually the true or a typical Asian. But guys, this is also again a wrong charge. Gandhiji actually got in too much of the got in too much of touch with the West as well as East, that he actually became an intercultural Indian who know that what is good in the West, what is good into the East, and at the same time how the good from both the sides can be clubbed together and the bad could be ignored. Now, guys, this is actually an achievement of the Gandhiji. Gandhiji was well progressive into his times. Now, guys, non-violence, it has been said that it is not only a pragmatic tool. Most of the time it has been said that the non-violence is taught by those people who don't have courage to fight back. It is a tool for the coward. It is tool for the weak. Guys, it is also a basically wrong understanding because it is also a kind of a soul force. Gandhiji had said that non-violence is a moral exercise, it is an ethical commitment as well as a constructive political action, because to raise a hand is not a work of a brave, rather it is a work for the one person who doesn't find rationality in his own thought and therefore he resort to violence. So therefore non-violence is not just a tool for the weak and powerless, rather it is a kind of a demonstration of your courage, of your understanding, of your maturity. Now guys, Gandhiji has led the struggle against the violence, because according to him violence is basically just similar to the unjust laws. Now guys, when we talk about the Gandhiji's idea onto the politics, according to him, politics as well as morals, they are undetachable. Even Gandhiji gave the seven social sins, and there the politics without morality has also been called as a sin, as a crime. So therefore, both of these things were very much closely linked together. Now, guys, Gandhiji also gives the concept of the just society. Now, what is this concept of just society? That last of the last person, most vulnerable, most downtrodden person should also be given all capabilities of the life. Now, you might have heard about Gandhiji's idea of Sarvodaya, Gandhiji's idea of Antyodaya. Sarvodaya means everybody's upliftment. Antyodaya means the upliftment of even last of the last, poorest of the poor person. You might have heard about Gandhiji's talisman, where Gandhiji says that whenever you are in doubt, whether you are in confusion, just think the face of the most poor person and just think that by your action, will that person be gaining anything? If yes, then you are doing the right thing. So such kind of things basically depict that Gandhiji wanted to create a very just kind of state. Moreover, guys, when we talk about Gandhiji's belief in democracy, Gandhiji believes that only by democracy the moral growth of entire humanity can be brought, because other systems are too corrupt. Either they basically they are corrupt with the power, the hunger of the power, and democracy is the best kind of thing. Moreover, guys, Gandhiji also talked about cultivating various virtues. For example, virtue of the fearlessness. Gandhiji's advocacy for the ahimsa never means that you need to be coward. Fine, he always talked about the courage. Then, guys, the non-possession. You should not be clinged with the material things. Then, the idea of the humility. Humility means that you always should consider yourself as less. Humility means that you always need to be modest, you need to be humble, and many a times Gandhiji depicted such kind of humility throughout his life. Then, guys, theory of intercultural dialogue was also given by the Gandhiji. What is this theory of intercultural dialogue? He said Gandhiji was actually a pathfinder and not a dogmatic nationalism. According to him, the idea of nation is not only about one particular religion, one particular caste, or one particular group of people. Rather, it is a collective identity which is made by the diverse caste, diverse religions, etc. Guys, Gandhiji always talked about religion, and by religion, he was never a communalist also. Why? Because Gandhiji's idea of religion was not more of a theological, into the theological sense. His idea of religion was more of an ethical system. According to Gandhiji, religion teaches us ethics. Therefore, when everybody was talking about the Hindu rights, Muslim rights, he never talked about the rights of one community. He was always concerned about the rights of the entire humanity. So, therefore, actually, he was the true person who knew the meaning of the religion also. Moreover, guys, when we talk about Gandhiji's Satyagraha as well as Swaraj, even his Satyagraha and Swaraj were rooted into the ethical treatment and not into the religious sense. Moreover, as Gandhiji gave the idea of Indianness rather than Hindutva, it again means that Gandhiji had a very clear understanding that we need to rise above the notions of such kind of divisions, and we are Indian first before and after that the other kind of divisions come. And therefore, he always talked about the brotherhood bhaichara. So, guys, all these are the ideas, or all these are the things that we learn from the Gandhiji's struggle, Gandhiji's life. You can utilize it into GS paper number 2, GS paper number 1, as well as GS paper number 4, along with the essay. So, guys, that's all about this particular article. Now we'll move to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article talks about the issue of the online gambling. Now, you might have heard the names of the apps such as the Dream 11, Paytm, First Games. Fine. Now, what is the status of these apps? Now, when we are talking about these apps, whether the gambling is allowed or not, so all these things will be clearing here. Now, first of all, there are two things whenever we talk about gambling. There is the game of chance, and the second is the game of skill. Now, game of chance is not allowed in our country, whereas game of skill is allowed in our country. Now, first of all, what is actually the meaning of game of chance as well as game of skill? Game of chance means that where one person doesn't needs to apply any brain, any reasoning, any logic. Fine, just by being lucky, he can win. Whereas game of skill means that by doing some permutation, combination, active reasoning, thinking, he can basically get some amount of money. So games of skill are allowed. Now, guys, further games of skill as well as games of chance, when we talk about more into them, then, guys, the gambling is a kind of a state subject, and every state needs to define whether into their state gambling will be allowed or not. Now, guys, all the states in our country, neither they have taken a very clear position onto the gambling, nor they have actually defined that what is the game of skill, what is the game of chance, whether both are allowed, both are not allowed. Nothing has been said. Only one state, that is the Nagaland, has made a very clear law. So, guys, therefore, whenever the gambling or all these kind of thing comes, the matter is referred to the judiciary. And, guys, when we talk about the Dream 11, then into the Dream 11 case, in 2017, Punjab and Haryana High Court said that they are the games of skill and therefore they are allowed. In 2019, Bombay High Court also said that they are the games of skill, therefore allowed. In 2020, Rajasthan High Court again said that yes, they are the games of skill, therefore they are allowed. But Supreme Court had stayed this particular matter, and now the Supreme Court will be going into the merits as well as the demerits of this entire issue and will decide whether it is a game of skill or not. Now, guys, there could be a possibility that these apps could be banned, but the article says that the banning of this entire portal is not a very good call, because if we see, then guys, according to the KPMG report, the gaming industry in India is right now $150 billion, and when the monetary thing which is attached to these gaming, it is also accounted, it is much more than that, and even we don't have any data on that particular thing. So guys, the banning is not desired, or the regularization is required. Why regularization is required? Because of certain reasons. Number one, by regularizing it, we can raise the revenue, because all the transactions which will go through from here, we will impose a GST on them. Moreover, when the people will win the money on that thing, we will also impose the income tax. Moreover, guys, anyhow, these betting, gambling, etc. is going on, but then it will be done under the government radar, and therefore the revenue will come. Second is that, guys, regularization can also help in napping the match fixing. Now, into the UK, the basically betting is allowed, and when the betting is going on onto the websites, basically the enforcement agencies, they keep a very close look onto the websites, and if they find that some unusual pattern is going on some unusual thing, so a huge bet is being placed, they can identify that there could be an instance of the match fixing. So therefore, in India also it can help. Then, guys, there is a kind of an example of the United Kingdom Gambling Act of 2005, where what they have done, they have divided the gambling in four types. That is the casual, mid-range, serious range, and high-stake gambling. And on all of these, different kind of mechanisms have been installed. So such kind of thing we can also do in India. Then, guys, there is huge gray area which is existing into the gambling. There is All India Gambling Federation and the Federation of Indian Fantasy schemes which is going on, and but these organizations have not been able to basically control the gambling regime in India. So therefore, by regularization, by bringing a new law, a kind of an able organization can also be established. And guys, finally, by regularization, we can also regularize the advertisements which are associated with these gambling portals. For example, many a times when the advertisements come, they give the two excuses. First, they say that if you are getting bored into the lockdown, you should install these apps. So they are giving excuse that you should go to these gambling websites or gambling portals just to relieve yourself from the social anxiety. Other, they give you a kind of an excuse that you can earn money. So other is the financial incentive which they are giving. So this is bad. Rather, you need to be very specific that what gambling is, what risks are there, what kind of other things are there. For example, when there is a kind of an advertisement for some kind of tobacco or etc., first of all, they are not allowed, and even when they are being sold, there are needed to be a kind of an enough of advisory. So such advisories with the advertisements can be also imposed if they are properly regularized. So guys, therefore, all these are the issues with respect to the gambling. We can utilize it into the GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 3. So guys, that's all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article is a very brief article with respect to the national butterfly. Now, there is a kind of an initiative which is going on where the citizens have expressed their concern that India has so much species of butterfly. Therefore, one of the butterfly should also be identified as a national butterfly of India. Now, guys, in this particular direction, nothing substantial has been said by the government, but the kind of an initiative is going on. Now, in the article, there are name of certain 4, 5, 6 types of butterflies which has been given. So we only need to see the names of these butterfly. So for example, if a question comes, we can identify that what they are, because their names are very tricky. So I'll show you their names. So their names are Krishna peacock. So but keep in mind, Krishna peacock is a butterfly, not a peacock. Then the Indian jazzbill or common jazzbill, orange oak leaf, 5-bar swordtail, Indian Nawab. Okay, so the Nawab is also butterfly. Yellow gorgon and northern jungle queen. Fine, guys. So these are some of the butterflies which are the contenders for the position to be a national butterfly of India. Please do keep their names into your mind that these such kind of different names are there. However, guys, just only this thing. You do not need to go and see every butterfly's status, because these are the major contenders, but likely are hundreds of the contenders. So guys, that's it. Now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article talks about the IIT Madras, which had made a structure with nanofiber yarns. Now what are the structures? Structures are the threads which are used to sew the human body. So if you might have seen a person who had got injured, if you yourself would have got injured, you might have received some stitches. So now the nanofiber yarn have been developed. Now these nanofiber yarns, first of all guys, they are highly bioabsorbable into the body. Fine, you don't need to remove these threads once the wound has been recovered. Moreover guys, these threads also deliver the high load of antibiotics which could be very much needed into your body when you get encounter with a kind of a bruise. Now guys, these kind of threads, they have highly customized tensile strength. So for example, the stitching where it is being made, if it is being made on the skin, muscle, cartilage, so different tensile strengths can also be modified. Now guys, nanofiber, these are very fine fibers which are made onto the nanoscale, and when hundreds and thousands of such fibers are tied together, one structural thread is made. So guys, this particular thing has been developed by the IIT Madras. Just as a reference for the science and tech, or just as a question for the prelims, we need to keep it in our mind. Guys, nanotechnologies are very promising technologies, and in all the fields, nanotechnologies that is working on any material onto the nanoscale is being done into the computer science, into the fuels, into the clothing, into the packing material, everywhere. The nanoscience is making much more progress and it holds a great potential. So guys, just that's it, a kind of a factual news it was. And now we'll move to the next article. Now friends, this particular news pertains to recent public emergency. Now what has happened? Guys, there was an issue where into the Gujarat, certain laborers were not given money for their overtime. It was said that right now country is facing a public emergency due to the slowdown, and therefore the public emergency has been proclaimed, and here government gets a power under the Factories Act of 1948 and they can do such kind of things. No guys, this only episode is not a matter of concern. Rather, what has happened over the country, many public liberties, civil liberties have been taken of the citizens, citing that right now we are facing the public emergency. Now, guys, the Supreme Court of India had clarified that a kind of an economic slowdown brought by a health emergency or by a pandemic or the present crisis, it cannot be regarded as a public emergency. Public emergency can only be there if there is a threat to the national security, and that threat because of some war, external aggression, or the internal disturbance, and all these things are not there. Therefore you cannot call right now present slowdown as the public emergency. So guys, only this thing has been clarified by the Supreme Court. So just please keep in our mind that whenever the civil liberties are being trampled, it might not be now the excuse. So guys, just as a reference, we will be utilizing it in our answers. So guys, that's all. Now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article is talking about the Australia's participation into the Malabar drills. Now, what is there? Malabar is a kind of a naval drill which happens between three countries, that is the India, Japan, and the USA. Now guys, these four countries are there, three countries are there. Along with these three, there is one more grouping which is called as the Quad, that is the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. In Quad, there is India, then there is Japan, then there is USA, as well as there is Australia. Now guys, it was being floated into the past few days that Australia will also be included into the Malabar. Fine, and therefore actually guys, what will happen? The even entire Quad will be militarized. Fine, so kind of a military blocking or grouping will be made. Now guys, Australia has not been finally admitted, and it has been said into the article that India actually is now not very much interested to include the Australia, because when Australia will be included and a military grouping will be formed here, it will be assumed that purely it is a centric towards the China, and China might not be taking such thing into a very, very positive light. And right now, as the confrontation is going on with China, India doesn't want to antagonize China on such kind of unnecessary things. So therefore, India is right now dropping such kind of thing. Moreover, guys, in this article, one more reference has been given. That is the United Nations Security Council reforms. So, as we have discussed earlier, also United Nations consists of two types of members. That is the 5 permanent members and 10 non-permanent members. Now, guys, India wants that these 5 seats should be expanded. There are G4 countries which are talking about this particular expansion. These G4 countries are the Brazil, Germany, Japan, and India. So they want it to expand. However, guys, China has, as well as Russia, are not very much keen to devolve their power. Now, guys, into the article it has been said that these G4 country has raised the matter to US, and US had said that okay, they are ready to go for the expansion. However, guys, we know that this particular thing will be very difficult in order to be attained because all the 5 members have to agree. So, guys, that's all about this particular thing. However, much more substantial material has not been provided. So, guys, that's all. I hope you have understood this particular thing. So, that's it. Thank you so much.